Hey guys, so I am heading out to do an errand real quick, and I wanted to get an update. So, as I know the title of this video will say, my IUI failed. So, yeah, it was negative, and I tested today. I tested yesterday, and it was negative, and and I tested today, and it was still negative. So it's just a pretty hard negative. So now it's just waiting for my cycle, and then as soon as my cycle comes, we can start IVF. I don't want to do IVF. It's the money involved, the drugs, because you have to inject a lot of drugs. There's a lot of drugs that are involved in this. Yeah, it's just a lot, and I didn't really want to go this, but you weigh it, right? And that's the thing, you weigh it. I don't want to spend but if the thing is, if IVF wasn't so expensive, it would be a no-brainer. And that's the truth. I mean, it would be like, okay, IUI, that's kind of been my attitude with IUI is, okay, well, I have something I want to do, and let's do it. Let's get it done, because it's the only way I'm going to be able to do it right now. That's part of when you're single, and and dealing with this as a single person, and I'm almost in my late mid-30s, I guess, and again, there's nothing on the horizon relationship-wise. So, sure, I could not do it. Of course, it's a choice. I could not do it. And I could just settle with what I have, which is 2 amazing kids. But that's not where I'm at. Still, I still want to have a baby of my own, carry a baby, of my own. It's not so much about having a biological child than it is, honestly, experiencing pregnancy, and going through that. And I don't regret that. I don't regret my choice to continue going forward. So we're going to move forward with IVF, because that's just how my story is. I didn't want it to be my story. No one really wants their story to be hard. No one really wants their story to be difficult. But that's my story. My story is I had 5 IUIs. 2 of them succeeded, but I failed to stay pregnant. 3 of them didn't. And IVF is just part of it. And I think the hardest part about IVF is that it's still not a guarantee. It's still not a promise that in at this point, 10, 11 months, that I'm going to have a healthy baby in my arms. It's still a gamble, and it's a gamble that I have thought on hard. I mean, I've had IVF facing me really since August, and I lost the second pregnancy. But definitely since October. We did a fifth IUI just to kind of pass the time in IVF, and there's a part of me that wishes I'd just done IVF maybe last month and not done an IUI. Sure, there's a part of me I thought we could do more with IVF while I was waiting for my IUI, which we really didn't do, so kind of felt like a bit of a waste. But I'm only saying that because I'm not pregnant. I'm only saying that because I'm not pregnant. If I gotten pregnant, it would be completely different. I'd be so thankful that I did try one more time do an IUI. I'd be so happy, So it's just not my story. And it's hard seeing negative pregnancy tests when you're wanting to get pregnant. And it feels like a failure. You feel like a failure. Because, this quote unquote, and everyone, says the one thing you're supposed to be able to do as a woman, right? The one thing you're supposed to be able to differentiate yourself is to have a baby and to be able to carry a baby, and to not being able to do that, it's hard. And then, I think I've said this before, but I am single by choice. Not by choice in the sense that I'm never going to get married, I'm never going to be in a relationship. I made the decision in 2018 when I started my foster care journey to be a single parent. I was a single parent then. I made the choice almost 5 years ago to be a single parent, knowing I was going to have a kid, kids, because at the time I could take at least 3. I got 2, but I could take actually 3. So I became a mom. And then, in August of 2018, I became a mom of 2. And, and then in June of 2019, I made the conscious decision to really become a mom and agree to adopt my kids. Again, it's completely single. And then last year, when I made the decision that I was finally going to pursue this on my own, again, it was a choice. So I don't regret being single by choice. I mean, if someone came in and I could be in a relationship, I would definitely welcome it. But that's just also not my story. And yeah, but I think that definitely been hard going through this by myself. Not having anybody to lean on, not having anybody to hold me and cry with me. I mean, I've had family and friends who have been supportive, and they're amazing. But not having a partner has definitely been hard. And doing this by myself, that's been probably, barring the miscarriages, that's been the hardest part of this, is doing it by myself. And again, not regretting it. I don't regret it. I'm not second guessing myself. Not really. But I do wish I had someone to kind of share the grief with. That kind of understood that it wouldn't, because your family and your friends, while they grieve with you, absolutely, and they weep with you, absolutely, they don't know what it's like to go through it. Very few people completely understand what it's like to go through pregnancy loss alone when it's wanted. I know that there's a lot of people, and I've had a lot of people in my life who have dealt with miscarriage. And there's, again, it's always a difficult thing to talk about, because you always feel very selfish lot of people have gone through miscarriage. I'm not the only one. In fact, there's people who have literally get pregnant every time they do an IUI or every time they do IVF. They get pregnant, but they always lose. So getting pregnant is easy. But keeping is hard. And then, IVF also is scary because what if we do IVF and because I'm going to do genetic testing, and every egg is genetically abnormal. I've watched YouTubers this happen to. I've watched people that I follow, and I've followed for a long time, 6 years at least. Which doesn't seem like that's been that long, but there's YouTubers on this platform, and there's other channels that have gone through so much loss and have gone and had genetic testing done and found out that almost every embryo they had was genetically abnormal. And that's so scary, because then and it's frustrating because in all this, I've gotten all these tests, especially since September. I've gotten all these tests, and they've all come back normal. My karyotype came back normal. I got genetic testing done last month. For me, I hadn't done it, as I've said before on the channel. I hadn't done it because it was just, I didn't have a reason to do it. Nobody in my family has any clear genetic predispositions, including cancer. I don't have anybody in my family that, it's not like every generation of my family had gotten cancer. I've had the only members of my family that have gotten cancer and died from it were people that were distantly related to me, like aunts, uncles, or my great-grandma. I haven't had anybody in my family who's had any any genetic issues that we knew of, and then I haven't had anyone in my family that had any genetic issues that I'm aware of, or fertility issues, except for I have some family members that have, but that's it. It's not. My mom had no problem getting pregnant. My grandmother had nobody in my family had a problem getting pregnant. My sister had no problem getting pregnant. So it's really frustrating, because now it does feel. Before, it didn't feel like infertility. It felt like, okay, I could get pregnant, but I just went. This feels a little bit more infertility. I can't get this, and that's frustrating. And the genetic testing came back, and I did test positive for 2 genetic recessive genes. So that doesn't mean that I have the disorder. It means I am a carrier for these disorders, because I am unaware of this. But one of them is called Usher syndrome, which actually, when you Google it, is one of the leading causes of blindness and deafness in the world. So it's a fairly common thing. And then the other is something called familial Mediterranean syndrome, which is basically something that you come down with when you're a child. And it basically heavy fevers, and stuff like that, and a lot of aches and pains. And you tend to get the attacks as a child, and it tends to come in early adulthood. Usually children, but it can go in as far as I know, I don't have it. I do carry the gene for it, so that just means that anybody I have, either a donor, or if I end up having a partner and decide to have a child with, I just need to make sure that they are not a genetic carrier for the recessive genes of those 2 syndromes. Because if they are, the likelihood of our child having these syndromes is much higher. But I am a carrier, but that again doesn't point to can't get pregnant. It just point to the fact that I'm a genetic carrier I have 2 recessive genes. So it sucks. And we're moving on to IVF. The train just rolls on, and some people are definitely like, you gotta take a beat. For me, we gotta keep momentum going. We gotta keep going. It's already gonna take a while, because nothing can happen this cycle anyway. Because I'm not on any meds, so basically we go through this cycle, and then we in December, and then we won't even be able to start, possibly until January. That's the earliest that we can do IVF. So that's a month and a half away. Because I still have to get through this cycle this month, and then, So, yeah, that's where we're at. It was negative. I was really, really sad yesterday. Really angry. I was really angry. And really frustrated. And today, I've been busy all day, so I haven't had a chance to really dwell on it. But I did want to take a stop and talk about it. Because if nothing else, this has helped chronicle what I've gone through and what other people go through, because my story is not that different than most people's story. Most people, who go through this is their story. IVF, infertility, it rules your life. More than just trying to conceive. Normally, it just, your life revolves around, appointments. Yesterday, good night, the amount of appointments that I had to book. The amount of appointments I had to book yesterday. And again, there's no IVF this month. This is just appointments to get everything ready for next month. It's just frustrating. And but we go on. In one way, at least the good side is, with the genetic testing, we should be able to know what follicles will be viable and what follicles are compatible with life, and we can move forward with how we're going to do that. And I can deal with the moral implications that I have to deal with. I can deal with the moral implications with what I have to deal with, as far as having that many follicles. The other real reason why I didn't really look forward to IVF is that IUI, this last one, what really stinks about it too is the fact that there were 2 follicles, so there were 2 chances and neither chance took. That's hard. But with IVF, it's a lot more chance of having a lot of kids and creating a lot of kids, and you can have 12 eggs, and it's not like, okay, let's just take out 4. No, they need to take out all 12, because they need to be able to check all of them to make sure that they're all financially good. And so then I want 1 baby, but now I have all these. So the financial, hardship, or not the financial, but the emotional kind of thing you have to go through when you're dealing with IVF is creating life that, you know, that's what you're doing. You're creating life. And so then, you know, it's not okay to create a life that you're not gonna have. So, but that's how it goes. Like I said, this isn't necessarily how I wanted my story to go. But it is my story. And we make the most of it. We make the best of it. And life goes on, you know. We haven't really talked about this one, if I'm honest, with my family. And this one, it kind of came and went quite quietly. Which, you know, is hard. Because I was hopeful with this one. You know, I was having I got a flash of sickness last night, and my sister's like, "So, are you sure?" I'm like, "No, it's negative." But it's little things like that, you know, you're like, is it something I ate? Is it just PMS, or is it pregnancy symptoms? And when you're trying to have a baby, you hope so hard that it is pregnancy symptoms, and when you're not pregnant, it's just crushing. It's crushing. So, thank you for anyone who stuck around this long. This was a bit of a longer video, but I wanted to get it out. And, you know, part of the reason why I've kind of started doing them while I'm driving, is mostly accountability, because it makes me do them. I hope to get back to where I can do them, but life's just been so crazy, and this is kind of the only quiet time I get, where I'm alone, is in my car. I think most moms can feel that one. So, again, thank you for sticking around this long. If you did, please like this video, share it, subscribe it, comment. I still am hopeful that one day that this could maybe be a resource for other people. Because you don't know what you don't know, and you're not alone in this. There's a lot of people out there that are going through infertility and going through things like that, and so